Today we will start capital gains. Again, capital gains is also, as I told you, is a larger chapter compared to the other chapters, along with your business PGBP. PGBP is also large, and this one also is a little large. So therefore, you have to be careful with these two chapters. But what is the best part is this: in a practical situation, this doesn't come very often. It comes once in a while. Like yesterday, one of my clients called and he was asking me about some capital gain. In fact, two people they were inquiring about it. So if you don't know the provision, you cannot reply. You cannot tell anything. Now, what is the basis of that? This is what I said: standard entry, standard road. This is the standard road that I was explaining. Any profit or gain arising from transfer of a capital asset. Capital asset, we have to know what is it. We'll come to that. Affected in the previous year shall be chargeable to income under the head capital gains and shall be deemed to be income of the previous year in which the transfer took place unless that means if it is exempt, unless such capital gain is exempt under these sections. Therefore, it will be deemed to be income of the previous year in which the transfer took place unless there is an exemption available. The following are the conditions to be satisfied to give rise to capital gain. So, therefore, this standard door through which you can enter tells you that these are the characteristics. What is it? There must be a capital asset. The capital asset must have been transferred. There must be profit or gains on such transfer as capital gains. Such capital gain is not exempt under these sections. If the above conditions are satisfied, capital gain shall arise and taxed in the previous year. So these are the characteristics. Actually, four conditions. If it is satisfied, then what will happen is these are the four conditions that needs to be looked at. Number one, there should be a capital asset, must be transferred, there should be profit, and it should not be exempt under this. Then taxability. If all the above conditions are, then only capital gain will rise. So 45A, as I told you, 45A there is a problem where profit in sale of, in case of profits or gains on insurance claim due to damage or destruction of property. We looked at loss of goods, loss of property and all that. If there is a loss of property, what happens? The insurance company gives money to the insured, but there is no transfer of asset. Therefore, it was deemed that there is no capital gain. But later on, they said, no, that means it was failing under section 45, which is the base section. So, therefore, in order to get capital gain for that, they created another door separately, section 45A, which says 1A, which says that even though transfer is not there, that means this condition is not satisfied, yet there is capital gain. So that is separate door. Like that, so many other doors have been created to make other types of things which doesn't fall under this category, which doesn't fall under these characteristics, still it will be capital gain. Therefore, if it doesn't fall under this, you cannot say no, there is no capital gain. You have to look at the other doors also, check the other doors. Finally, all the doors are complete, then you can say, okay, it's not capital. Therefore, looking at this only is not enough. Okay. That is what the basic idea about basis of. Now, let us move on. What is, as I told you, capital gain, capital asset? What is capital asset? Let us look at it. Now, this is a very important definition because unless it's a capital asset, there will be no capital gain. So, what is the thing capital asset? Capital asset doesn't mean the way we think in accounts. Capital asset means a property of any kind held by the assessee, whether or not connected with the business. This is very important. A lot of business people think that their residential house is not. If they sell it, there is no tax. No, there is tax because they think that it is only relating to the business. Actually, it is not so. Any asset, whether it is related to the business or not, or profession, but all those are coming under the meaning of capital asset. Hence, capital gain will be attractive, but does not include. There are some exceptions. Stock in trade, though it is connected with business, consumables, raw material, and for its purpose of business or profession. Now, can you guess why these are being said it is not a capital asset? Can you tell me why these are not capital assets. They have been excluded from the meaning of capital assets. Why? Why is that? What can be the possible reason? Venus? Why stock in trade, consumable, raw material is not falling under the category of capital assets, or they have excluded it? What is the reason why they have excluded it? Can you tell me? I'm waiting.
No, sir.
Yeah, what is the reason? What can be the reason? Maria, can you tell me? What is the reason why these items have been excluded from capital asset? Now assume that these are included in capital asset. What is going to happen? Think like that. If these are included in the meaning of capital asset, what is going to happen?
Expenditure on them is not capital expenditure.
Now tell me, consumables, stock, raw material, what do you do with that? Where does it come? What do you use it for?
Production.
For the purpose of business?
Yes.
Then you sell it. When you sell it, your sales minus your these items, stock, consumables and all, is your gross profit, and then you calculate the profit and you show under which head?
Income from business.
Yes. So the already it is included there. When it is already included there, if you don't exclude it here, it will also become capital asset. So when you sell a stock in trade, again it will get attracted here. So there will be double taxation. In order to avoid that sort of situation, they have clearly mentioned that this will not come here because it's already taken care under business and profession. Is it clear? That is the reason why this is excluded here. Okay. Now let's move on. Personal assets. So we think personal assets, everything is there. Personal asset, that is movable assets. That means immovable, there is a problem. It's a capital asset. Try to understand. But does not include personal assets, that is movable property. Other than, again there is an other than. That means what? Even though these are personal assets and it is movable, yet it is a capital asset. Therefore, here there is a not. Here there is a, this way you have to understand. Here there is a not. Other than, both are negative intent, right? So negative will make these positive. This will be all positive. That means they are capital assets. That's what I'm trying to say. You understand what I'm saying? But does not include personal assets. But within personal assets which are movable, other than jewelry, archaeological collection, drawings, paintings, sculptures, or work cover. That means what? That means your personal jewelry, archaeological collections, drawings, paintings, sculptures, and any other work of art are all capital assets. Are all capital assets. That is the meaning. But if you have a car, which is your personal asset, there's no problem. It will not fall in place in the name of in this meaning of capital asset because it is movable and it is personal and it is not falling under the six items that are not covered. It is covered. So these are not covered under personal assets and movable assets. But again, personal assets, your own residential house, it is immovable. It is not movable. Only movable is covered, and under movable also these are not covered. That's how you have to read it. Then again, agricultural land other than the one situated in. Again, agricultural land is covered, but there is again a situated other than situated in, which means these are not covered. That means this will become capital asset. Again, not other than. Again and again, I'm saying not other than. These ones are not exempt as agricultural land, but they are covered under the meaning of capital asset. Any area comprised with the jurisdiction of municipality or cantonment board having a population of 10,000 or more, any area within certain limits from the local limits of such municipality or cantonment board as notified by central government. So they will say what is the local limits with that. For example, for Kollam, suppose Kollam is there, it is not Kollam Corporation, that is anyway there. But even about 8 kilometers from the town limits, and here also town limits, 8 kilometers. It may be defined. Some other place it may be 16 kilometers from the town limits. So total will be 16 plus here 16. Almost it's a distance of 22 kilometers will be falling under capital asset. Even though there is agricultural activity here, it will form under capital asset. This is where you have to be very careful. A lot of people make mistakes here. Later on notice will come, they will get into trouble. Okay. Now, so therefore agriculture land is exempt, but the ones which are coming under this is not agriculture land for the purpose of capital gains. This is how you have to understand. They are agricultural land. For general parlance, these are also agricultural land, no doubt. But it is not agricultural land for the meaning of capital gain head. Then apart from that, you got 6% bond, 9%, 7% national defense bond, special bearer, gold deposit, etc., etc. That's all falling under the meaning of capital asset. It means it is not covered. It is not, does not include. It is not falling under capital. Now, one more thing that you need to understand is that from the above, again, what we have told, it is just being expanded. From the outside, jewelry and others cannot be treated as personal effect, though it is movable and may be for personal use. That means it's a capital. The house property in which the assessee lives is though intimately used by him for personal purposes, but it will be not a personal effect. Or as it's an immovable property. It is not movable. Movable only is there. Personal effects are assets, but they are not called capital assets for capital purpose. Similarly, stock in trade are not capital assets, but for capital gains. Because it is not that not capital asset for what? It's a capital asset, but they are not capital assets for capital gain purpose. Now, this is explanation to what we discussed, nothing else. Now, the next thing that we need to understand is capital asset is divided into two parts: long-term capital asset, short-term capital asset. Can you tell me why it is divided into two parts? Any of you? Maria, can you tell me? Because you may have studied it, others may not have studied it. Any guess why? Why there is a distinction between long-term capital asset and short-term capital? Yesterday also, one of the clients I was talking about, he is selling land and building, factory building. So I told him specifically, please get this separate values. You should be having separate values in the sale deed. What is the reason? Maria, any guess?
I don't remember.
So what is the reason is because the rates are different. The rate for this and the rate for this is different. That is why. Therefore, you have to segregate it. There is a proposal going on for some time that why do all this? It's all confusing. Let us make it one rate. But that's still not in the day. There have been proposals all the time, but it doesn't sometimes go on. Now, let us move on. What is the short-term capital asset? Let us look at it. A short-term capital asset is something which means a capital asset held for not more than 36 months immediately preceding the date of transfer. From the date of transfer, when you're doing 36 months before that, maximum 3 years, that means you should have had at least 3 years. If you have not held for 3 years, then it is short-term. So that way you can easily. But there are certain exceptions. Normal is 36. Other cases, these cases, it is only 12 months holding is necessary. If you are holding for only 12 months, then only it will be short term, otherwise it will be long term. Similarly, shares and immovable property of land, 24 months. That's how They have defined. But there are still more exceptions to it, which is in some cases the way you have to consider now. The next, they are saying that in certain cases, the number of days, the way you calculate from the, what are they said here? They said from the date of transfer. But in these cases, the date of transfer, when the 12 months or whatever months you are calculating, you should consider these dates. Share held in a company in liquidation, exclude the period subsequent to the date of liquidation. You have to eliminate it. If you have got it from any mode by gift, suppose I have got it from my father, so the holding period will include the time when my father held it. From the time my previous owner is my father. So my father got it in 1950 or rather 1980. I am getting from my father in 2000. It doesn't mean that my holding period is from 2000. I have to take it from 1980 because my father bought it in 1980. Then shares of Indian or amalgamated company scheme. So if you are that means originally where you are holding, that when these ones we'll explain later, don't get into details, same resulting company and all that, all these things. So therefore, what we are saying is, if you have not purchased it directly, then the dates will be according to this. If you have not got directly by purchase, then it will be according to this. Okay. So long-term capital asset is what? Any capital asset which is not short-term is a long-term capital. The reason for distinction between short-term and long-term is required as tax rates applied are different. Is the reason. Okay. Now we'll just stop here. After that, we'll continue. But before that, I have to tell you something. So last we discussed about long-term capital gain. Now we'll continue with that and we will look at transfer. Transfer under section 247. Mind you, transfer is not defined as a capital gain. We have to go to the general definition of transfer under the head business. Under the head under the Income Tax Act. This is under Business Act, Income Tax Act. What is the meaning of transfer? Transfer in relation to a capital asset. Transfer in relation to a capital asset includes sale, exchange, relinquishment of an asset, sale, exchange, relinquishment of an asset, extinguishments of any rights therein, compulsory acquisition thereof under any law. In case where the asset is converted by the owner thereto or treated by him as stock in trade of the business carried on by him, such conversion or treatment, maturity or redemption of zero coupon bonds, any transaction that is any transaction involving allowing possession of immovable property to be taken or retained in part performance of a contract where under the contract transfer of immovable property the purchasers paid the price and possession has been taken over, but the conveyance is either not executed or if executed not registered, which means this generally happens in flats. Flats, when you buy, what happens is that you pay the money and you occupy, you take possession, but the flat is not registered in your name. Registration process is pending. Therefore, you cannot say that transfer has not taken place. Transfer has taken place for this purpose. Because even though it is not in your name, the title deeds have not come in your name. Still, you are the transfer has happened. That is what is covered here. The reason is very this thing because this title deed takes a little bit of time to do it. They may not do together. It takes some time. Even though title deed has not come, but still, if money has been paid and it has been occupied, then even though title deed is pending, it is a transfer. Similarly, any transaction by way of becoming a member of or acquiring shares in a cooperative society or of a company or EOP or whatever, whereby any agreement is there, any agreement or any arrangement or any other name, which has the effect of transferring or enabling or the enjoyment of any movable property. What is the example? Again, flats in the name of multi-storied building and other dwelling units and plots in a group housing colony are registered in the name of a cooperative society and formed by the individual allottees. The shareholder member in this case is deemed the owner of the flat, although legal owner is the cooperative society of the company. If the deemed owner transfers the rights to use and enjoy the flat by changing the membership to the cooperative society or by transferring to the company, it's treated as transfer. So let us try to understand what this means. I can tell you in Bombay, there are so many flats. So how the flat is done, I'll just show you. This is a big complex. There is one building here, A1, building number 1, building number 2, building number 3, building number 4, and so on. Some 30 flats are there, 30 buildings are there. Now, what happens is that these buildings are normally, what they do is, this has to be maintained in itself, plus something has to be maintained. So, what they do is for each building to take care of the building needs and things like that, a cooperative is formed. Cooperative society is formed for that building only. Like that, each building will have their own cooperative society. So what the society is basically, it consists of the members of the flat. So this building will be the property of a society. Building will be the property of the society, and each of the flat owners will be the holder of shares in cooperative society. By holding the shares of cooperative society, they are the owners of the flat. That means flat is here. It is represented by a share of cooperative society. So somebody A, if he wants to own the flat, he cannot pay for it. He has to pay for the shares in the cooperative society. Then he becomes the owner. That's the way the arrangement is. Who is the owner of the building or the flat? The cooperative society. By owning the shares, he becomes the owner of the flat. Tomorrow, he wants to sell the flat to B. Now, what will he sell? Not the flat, but the share he will sell it to B. By selling the share, the flat is also transferred. That is what they are trying to say, that in such case, the sale of share of the cooperative society will be a transfer of the property of this property, underlying property. What is the underlying property? The flat. So if A, who is the owner of the share, underlying property is the asset, wants to transfer the underlying asset to B, he cannot sell the flat because he is not the owner of the flat. He is the owner of the shares. So if he wants to transfer, he will transfer the share of the cooperative society, whatever is the number, to B, and B will now become the shareholder. Again, we read it. For example, usually flats in a multi-story building or dwelling units, plots in a housing scheme are registered in the name of the cooperative society formed by individual allottees. The shareholder member in this case are deemed owners of the flats, although the legal owner is a cooperative society of the company. If the deemed owners, that is in this case our A, transfer the rights to use to B and enjoy the flat by changing the membership of the cooperative society to B, or by transferring shares in the company, it will be treated as transfer. That is also, so you cannot say, no, I have transferred only the share. How I have not transferred the flat? By transferring the share, you are transferring the flat. That is what is the clarity that is given. Okay. Next. Transaction not coming. There are certain transactions for the purpose of, there is a transfer, But for the purpose of capital gain, these are not transfers. There are so many. If I read it, you will get a little bored. But I'll just read one. Distribution of capital assets on total part or partial partition of issue for liquidation of company. Transfer of capital asset under gift, bill, or any other event, but does not equal to use of. And some of the things they are giving. Transfer of works of arts, archaeological transfer, manuscript, etc. to the public, to any public museum or institution. Suppose you are transferring your work of arts. Earlier, what did say? Work of arts is a capital asset, and if you sell a work of art, there is capital gain. But in this case, suppose you are transferring the work of art to a museum, which museum, government or any public museum or institution, then it is not a transfer. It is not a transfer. Therefore, there will be no capital gain. Transfer of agriculture and before 1(3) is all exempt. Conversion of bonds, etc. And so on. Some of the things they have mentioned. So those are, even though they are transferred by the definition of 247, but it is not a transfer under the meaning of capital gains. Now, how do we calculate? Very simple. This is the way you calculate computation. You have to compute it separately. Capital gain should be computed short term separately and long term separately. So can you just compare and tell me where the difference is coming between the two? What is the difference? Aparna, tell me what is the difference between short term computation and long term computation? You must have, as a child, played that, done that, spot the difference. Don't expect that. What is the difference between the two? What are the items that you are looking at which is different in, it is not same as in long term and short term? What are those items? Tell me, fast. Just compare the two and see what is the difference.
Cost of acquisition of this.
Cost of acquisition, here it is index cost of acquisition. So there's a difference. That means indexation is possible only for long term. Short term, there is no indexation. What else? What else? One more difference is there. What else? What else? One more difference. What is the difference?
Cost of import of this.
Index cost and improvement also same. Index. What else? One more. One more difference is there. What is that? Exemption, here only list is limited. Here list is more, longer list. Is it clear? So these are the main differences between computation of short-term capital gain and long-term capital. Very good. Now let's move on. Index cost of capital gains, we'll come to that later, not now. Full value of consideration. Full value of consideration is the price at which the property has actually been transferred. In case of exchange of assets, suppose there is an exchange of assets, it will be the market value at which the asset is transferred. No deduction from sale price in determining the full consideration. It may be include any consideration received by the transferor, whether in money or in money's worth. Both will be considered. Generally, if there is an exchange or transfer, the asset which is being transferred, that market value will be. Because there is no value, you are exchanging. Expense of transfer includes any expenditure incurred, whether directly or indirectly, for the purpose of transfer, like advertisement, expense, brokerage, stamp duty, registration fee, legal expense, etc. That you can take it as expense. However, any expense which has been claimed as deduction under the Provisions Act cannot be claimed. You are claiming somewhere else under the business, you are claiming as a deduction, here you cannot claim. What is cost of acquisition? Cost of acquisition of an asset is the value amount which the assessee has incurred for its acquisition. So, cost of acquisition of an asset is the value at which the assessee has incurred for an expense incurred for completing the title is part of cost of acquisition. Interest on money borrowed to purchase the asset is part of asset. Sums paid for discharge of mortgage also will be part of asset. So how do we compute again? So full value of consideration, expenditure wholly incurred in connection with the, that is what is the expenses of transfer. You can reduce cost of acquisition, you can reduce cost of improvement, you can reduce. Then less exemption if any, you can claim, then you get short term. Here same thing, except there is index cost, this index cost, and here you got some further reduction. All our exemptions are not there, just sample to understand that there are more deductions available under long term than in short term. Okay, so now we'll stop here. We will continue in the next class with other forms of types of acquisition and all that, deemed cost of acquisition.